Hey guys, welcome back to New York Comic Con. We're here in the Newsarama Skybox. I'm Justin Tyler.
I'm Grace Randolph.
And here we are with Mr. Nick Spencer. You had an announcement here at the con, which is exciting. Tell us about it.
Avengers World, launching in January, written by myself and Jonathan Hickman with art by Stefano Caselli. It's sort of Avengers, the core Avengers book is going to be moving down to monthly for a while. And we'll be taking that slot that was the second issue of Avengers each month. So it's a big story, sort of running with this idea that Jonathan's hatched of this being an Avengers world and this world existing under that team's protection. And this is really about the world answering back. So it's about the changing face of Marvel Earth, and so we're going to be spending a lot of time outside of New York, outside of the States. We're going to be going all across the globe.
Well, I have to say, I think you and Jonathan Hickman are a good matchup because you're like the Dennis Millers of the comic book world.
That could be a compliment or an insult.
I don't know where this is going.
You constantly, I'm like, I need to go find like an encyclopedia, you know? Like, do you guys have just like an encyclopedia wealth of knowledge at your disposal, or are you guys researching this, trying to stump people?
We like to do our research. We like to at least pretend we know what we're talking about. In my case, it's a lot of 3 a.m. Wikipediaing, and
nice.
I think John's read the real thing more. So.
Are there going to be any roster changes for the Avengers World book?
No, this is going to deal with the same roster that you're seeing in Avengers. So, you'll see Cap and Thor and Iron Man, but we're also going to have a special focus on some of the newer members.
That's a big roster.
It is, no small team. So, we're gonna spend some more time with folks like Smasher and Hyperion, some of these new faces that Jonathan's introduced, and really sort of get inside their heads, see what makes them tick, spend some time with them, find out where they came from, and hopefully help build that sort of emotional connect to that cast.
Awesome. Let's talk Superior Foes of Spider-Man, a book that's been coming out. What issue are we on now?
We're coming up on 5, I think.
Yeah. It's been super fun. It's sort of a team of Spider-Man villains who don't quite know what they're doing. Tell us about how it came about. It's such a fun title.
They view themselves as consummate professionals.
Yeah, it's true. Just like all of us.
It's so much fun to write a book about bad guys.
Yeah.
And it's Boomerang is been a favorite character of mine since I was a kid. So for whatever reason, when I saw him when I was 8-9 years old, I just thought, this guy's got boomerangs taped up all over him. This is the coolest thing I've ever seen. So, so obviously when you walk in at Marvel and you pitch them a book with Boomerang and Speed Demon and Shocker, you expect them to laugh you out the door, but thankfully they gave it a shot.
Well, it's interesting because Boomerang has a lot of the same problems that Peter Parker would have.
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah.
That was a huge part of the pitch. Was we said these guys are just as relatable as Peter is. Peter sort of plays to the better angels of our nature, but we're not like that all the time. And so these guys sort of play to the jerk in all of us, and so it's really fun to kind of take that classic Spider-Man dynamic of making you pull for the underdog and sort of rooting for them through adversity. It's sort of fun to twist that around and see it from the side of the guys that Spider-Man's usually beaten up.
I feel like it's such a tonal difference from some of your other work in and outside of the Marvel Universe, where you work on like Secret Avengers stuff. It's complex, very much like a lot of moving parts put in place. This is like super light, fun, a lot of like different looks for the different panels and stuff.
Yeah. It's fun to get to write comedy again. I've done it a little bit with Jimmy Olsen, and I think Infinite Vacation is about half of that. So. I like to write comedy. You don't get that many opportunities, so whenever you do, you try to enjoy it. And obviously, a huge part of the distinctive look of the book is Steve Lieber, who's just a fantastic artist and storyteller. So, we owe so much to him in terms of the visual identity.
It kind of puts you in the Hawkeye, kind of wheelhouse.
Well, the book, a big part of how that happened is Steve had contributed to the Hurricane Sandy issue of Hawkeye, and we were already talking about Superior Foes. And I immediately emailed Steve Wacker and said, "What about Lieber? Can we get him?" And thankfully he said yes.
Well, you've you're working for a big company like Marvel, obviously, but you really have become your own brand. I mean, I was on the Bleeding Quill panel after your Morning Glories panel, and you had a nice turnout there.
We had a very nice turnout. Yeah. Really fantastic. With Morning Glories, we just have the best fan base. They're so dedicated and devoted to sort of getting deep into that story and trying to dig around for hints and clues and coming up with their own theories. So I couldn't believe it. You never know exactly what to expect with panels like that. You're hoping that five or six people will show up and won't boo you off the stage.
Because it was late at night.
Yeah, it was. It was a later panel, and it not only was the turnout great, but the questions were just so good. Just really detail oriented. Curveball questions, people trying to trip me up and get stuff out of me. So it was,
That's awesome. It was
pretty great. That book, we've got a couple of columns online and podcasts and great Tumblr tag and great followers on Twitter, and it's just the whole community that's built up around it. It's an incredibly rewarding experience.
And I love in the back of the book, you have the Multiversity Comics thing, and I love that as a way of just sort of like digesting everything from the issue. It's great.
That's a great example of sort of that online community becoming then a part of the book. That Matt at Multiversity had been doing the column for a while. Folks had been saying, especially some of our like casual readership had been like, I'm getting a little lost, I'm a little confused, help me out. And so we were like, well, what if we put sort of a Cliff Notes version of Study Hall inside the book? And Matt's done a fantastic job on that, and it really has.
Did you create this online community, or did it just spring up?
No. That's one of the best things about it is that, this is all fan stuff.
That's fantastic.
So
that's like the ultimate compliment.
It really is. It really is. I always say that I've gotten to work on a lot of great projects and everything, but nothing comes close to that in terms of just that response. And we're 35 issues in now, so we're sort of in the murky middle of things. Right. So to still kind of have that energy is really amazing.
And let's talk real quick. Bedlam, another of your creator books. That is a terrifying book. The art is so unsettling, I think is the word I would say, and I'm sure that's deliberate.
Sure.
It's really great.
Sure.
But maybe tell everybody about that book, because it's sort of newish.
Yeah, it's intense.
Yeah.
It was a chance to get to stretch some different muscles. We got to do a procedural, or got to do a bit of a horror story and a bit of a crime story. So I'd never really done anything like that. So it was a cool experience to get to play around in that kind of world. And Matt Red's a really fun character to write. You learn really quickly why people like writing psychopaths. And so we're coming up on the end of the second arc, and it's a really explosive finish that I think a lot of people are going to be talking about. And then the next story that we're going to tell is our biggest yet. So it just sort of continues to grow, and it's gotten a great response. And Ryan Brown's done an amazing job on this arc. Riley did a fantastic job on the first arc, and so we're gonna press forward a bit and introduce some new faces soon that are I think they're gonna strike a chord.
That's awesome. The art reminds me of old MTV cartoons from back when they used to do animation, and it takes me back to being too young to be watching MTV.
Right.
Late at night, flicking to the channels.
MTV oddities.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Aeon Flux.
Is
anyone just resonating with anyone?
Right. Does anybody else remember this?
So thank you so much. You have some great books
me.
coming out and already out.
Thank you so much.
You guys stay tuned for plenty more from New York Comics.